at the time, I struggled to find a niche, and I think also because of my folks, I think funds were also an issue at the time. My siblings are not around, so it's just me and my mom trying to figure out places to be at. Um, I think also we just had a rough road every time we were finding a school. The school either has particular issues. I'm not gonna name which school particularly, but there are some schools where they're not very mindful of how they're treating their students. Some came out with really rough housing stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This is ADMI. This is like the third, fourth take because I'm very good at this thing, eh? We are sitting down with Ritchy Mistri once again after having received a very enticing teaser the last time we sat down together. There are very many stories that we need to get to the bottom of. But before we go into that, I hope you guys are consuming the rest of our content. We have started ADMI masterclasses with our lecturers. We have started raising a creative with parents to ADMI students. Of course, we have This is ADMI with our alumni members. And we see our community is growing. Imagine we went from 2 to 3 people. Growth.
That's great.
Hey, those views, we cherish you guys. We should start a group chat. This is where your passion becomes a profession. This is where creativity finds direction. This is ADMI. Ritchy Mistri.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. So we already discussed how this is going to go down. So we want to begin with where your life began.
From birth?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So what kind of world were you born into?
I'm a very I don't know, creative person. So I'd say, I don't know. I'd like to think my world was like, have you ever watched Megamind? Just a bouncing baby boy and full of mischief a little bit. Well, not really, but like I was a bit of a chaotic individual when I was a bit younger. Of course, then Lishkelaini after class 4 or 5 there.
Amazing. We've gone ahead. Let's
Oh,
dig into that.
okay.
In what ways was that chaos manifesting?
I don't know. I think my mind would. I used to be very imaginative. Like I used to space out quite a bit. Like, and I'm just daydreaming. So I used to look at things and imagine different worlds I could be in if I'm flying. Because I used to watch a lot of cartoons. I used to think, I could take the world at my oyster base. Just do anything and everything possible. So yeah,
But that doesn't sound mischievous.
it doesn't, because I'd say it's mischievous for my folks, because I would always find myself somewhere I'm not supposed to be, or my parents or my folks would want me to do certain things a particular way, and I'm like, what happens if I don't? And then I'll try something. But that was until when I turned 4. Now after 4, it was a problem. Then after 5, and I became more curious, now be more inquisitive. Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? So yeah, I'd say that's where the mischief a little bit was there.
Sorry to dwell too much on this, but I'm curious. Do you remember like a specific incident?
A specific incident. Okay. Picture this. We're coming off a plane. I'm going to go see my brother. So my brother at the time he used to study in Australia, Melbourne, for piloting. So of course our transit flight, we go to Dubai. So we're supposed to meet at Dubai, then go wait for a transit flight, move to Melbourne. So in Dubai, there's so much to look at. So when I get off the plane, I go missing. I mean, toy shop, and according to my sister and my mom, they've been looking for me for about an hour. So I just happened to be in a shop. I think that proceeded, but I'd stayed where I was, and I was looking around. Like, look at that, look at this, look at that, look at this. So when they came back and found me, I was like, oh, sorry. Then now we proceeded. So that's one of those instances. Or like, let's say We've now traveled. We've got into Melbourne. We're waiting for my brother to come get us. So of course they're tired. They've slept, and I'm seeing this sort of weird escalator that's not an escalator. It's just the one that takes you like this, not the one like this, just like this. So I'm like, what? That's fancy. So I go, and they've slept. Me, I've gone, and I'm just like playing with that thing, running backwards, doing the moonwalk. A freak cool. Till now, my brother found me. He's like, "Where's mom and your sis?" And they're like, "Oh, they're sleeping there." So that's all. A little mischief.
I understand you were like you said inquisitive
Yeah.
and you were living in your own world to a
Yeah.
certain degree. So
Yeah.
you had no concept of danger.
Yes, I was very free spirited, very mindful. Of course, it's just in the back of my mind, I know where people are, but like, yeah, I think I was very curious about things all the time, daydreaming, imaginative. So yeah, that's how I've always been.
Interesting. So class 4 rolls around and this changes.
Yeah.
What orchestrates that change?
Things are getting serious. School, exams, tests. I hate tests. So I was number one for exams, going through pressure, different things here and there. But of course, I was a very active person, be it on sports, practicals. Sometimes I would say I just never liked the tests. Oh, I did very well. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'd rather be very active. So I never found myself sitting around as much. I tried to participate in different sport categories, all kinds of sports. Never found the appeal with cricket, but I found everything else just interesting, and I did pretty well. Yeah.
Interesting. So class 4 is maybe like 3 years already into primary school, right?
Yeah.
So this whole time in primary school, you're still floating around in a bubble.
Yeah. I would say so. I think it's only till when now what happens? Class 4? It's only when now class 5, 6, I would say. When now, because I think for me, okay, my part of my story is I bounced around schools a lot. So growing up, I remember we changed different schools, different systems. So it did mess with me when I was much younger. Like the constant change, trying to understand what's going on, the studies, trying to make friends and whatnot. So I went from many schools. I went from, so let's say in kindergarten, I was in a school called Riverside Farm, very lovely school. Then I went to Kilimani Junior Academy, Kilimani Academy Junior, yeah. And that was in like in Karen Sides, and I was there for about 2 years. Then I left. I went to Juja. I was in Juja Preparatory for like a year, and then after that I went to Jaffrey's. After Jaffrey's, actually no, before Juja, I was in St. Andrews for a year, and I was like, and I was in boarding. I was year 3. I don't know how old I was then, but year 3. But I had different experiences, so bounced from different school. I don't think necessarily because there was an issue, but there was individual issues, be it the system, be it how I left for different reasons, left because again, it just didn't work out. But then I found now 2 schools I think that saved me, which in this case would be Nyahururu, what it's called? Nyahururu Elite School. That was in Nyahururu now. That's the school, and I finished class 8. Then I went to Light Academy for high school. Yeah, those are the 2 schools I would say that really.
Interesting. So I'm curious, why were you moving around so much?
I think at the time I struggled to find a niche, and I think also because of my folks, I think funds were also an issue at the time. My siblings are not around, so it's just me and my mom trying to figure out places to be at. I think also we just had a rough road every time we were finding a school. The school either has particular issues. I'm not gonna name which school particularly, but there are some schools where they're not very mindful of how they're treating their students. Some came out with really rough housing stories about what are happening with their kids. Guys were getting injured, or some guys were being mistreated because of maybe even color, me being just different, being 0.5 or being a different caliber. So yeah, I mean, that I would find was an unnecessary issue, but it was an issue.
Okay, so the problem was maybe from the institutions you guys were trying out, not
Yeah.
from home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from time to, and then also me being much younger, because I started boarding when I was very, very young. So my first boarding school was St. Andrews, and I was there for year 3. So I think what it was, maybe 7, maybe 8, I think. I don't know. I was very, very young. So of course that's very far from home. I'm getting homesick. I'm not doing well in terms of relationships and whatnot, or like even finding my ability to get into that transition very well. So I mean, but the school was lovely. It's just I think being able to cooperate now my ideals, the studies, the relationships with individuals, it was tricky. And again, being very young at that time. Then after that, I just decided to try to come back home about it. So I think boarding for me, I found it very good, but having started at a young age, it was difficult. Yeah, I'd say.
So, okay, many people have reasons why they go to boarding schools early. What was yours?
I think it was easier because even for at home, me being away was easier for me to also grasp everything. I think being able to be there consistently would get me all the maybe extra curriculum activities, the school, so not having to keep coming home and whatnot. So at a young age, I think it was just trying to encapsulate everything. And I think with it being that, because also I think my sister had already been in St. Andrews, so it's something that, of course, my folks were like, okay, that's supposed to put you there in that kind of space and stuff like that. But then she had not started at a young age like me. So after that, I decided to, well, they decided to take me now to different other schools after we left. I settled in rural. Elite. That's what now it was, because St. Andrews was British system. So it was British system, 844 British system. So then now I settled at 844.
It is well. Sorry, before we continue the school story, just a few family questions. How many siblings did you have, and how was home life like?
So my siblings, I have 2 siblings. I have an older brother and older sister, but we are very far apart in terms of our age gap. So my brother is we're like roughly 20 years apart. Me and my sister are 14 years apart. And then between my brother and my sister are 7 years apart. So 3 different generations have their own particular experience, I would say. But yeah, I think living with them is because sometimes, I rarely see them, or because, of course, them doing their own particular journeys. My brother being a pilot, never being around. My sister definitely traveling but also in the creative industry. So she used to travel a lot, or she was consistently busy with working, and now me following up with school.
Amazing. So, okay, now I have a picture of how your home life is like. You're back to school, and if I got this right, by the time you're in class 4, you are in St. Andrews
Yeah.
in a boarding school.
Yes.
So it's the boarding school life that kind of resuscitated your brain, and you're like, no, I have to be serious.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes. Yes.
Were you always drawn to the arts at this point?
I would say so. Yeah. I think being in a school like that definitely enhanced my daydreaming, or my curious state. That I'd be like, I want to try that, I want to try this, would stay up all night, be creative with this, or just run around and be a kid. But it came to a point where now you need to lift the reason why you're there, which is the academics and stuff. So there was a point where definitely I'm thriving with practical sports, be it extracurricular activities. But then now this is the other part that I need to also kind of redirect from. So definitely I could have done better. It's just I struggled with it. So then I think also because of the bouncing around from different systems. So they're now settling. This change of arc was now Nyahururu. Nyahururu for me is that we're going to boot camp. We're entering. Let me give you something interesting. We're entering boot camp like for war, or like it's this or the highway. So we are taught different things. But I mean, from that kind of transition, from it going back into now, if for four, that one, it was like it's either this or we're not gonna make it. Yeah.
So I want more insight into your moment of realization. Like, when did it click? What happened? Do you remember the exact moment where you made up your mind?
About
Yes.
About what exactly?
Like you said, about taking your academics seriously. Like, life is not, you're not going to just be in this bubble.
I think when I entered Nyahururu, Nyahururu for me was like when you enter the school, it's boot camp. Like there's so many rules. You gotta put your hands behind your back. It's the proper way for forced boarding school. Washing cubicles, you kuchota maji, washing your clothes, the whole thing. And then at a very young age, everyone has their responsibilities. You have a matron. You're staying in cubicles. That whole esque thing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back to this Nyahururu story. Mostly, I know because I've studied in Nyahururu, so we want the tea.
Yeah.
This is where your passion becomes a profession, where creativity finds direction. This is ADMI.